George Petrović, better known as Karađorđe, was a Serbian revolutionary leader who fought for his country's independence from the Ottoman Empire during the First Serbian Uprising of 1804 to 1813. Karađorđe was born into an impoverished family in the Šumadija region of Ottoman Serbia and distinguished himself during the Austro-Turkish War of 1788 to 1791 as a member of the Serbian Free Corps, a militia made up of Habsburg and Ottoman Serbs that was armed and trained by the Austrians. Fearing retribution following the Austrians and Serb rebels' defeat in 1791, he and his family fled to the Austrian Empire, where they were to live until 1794, when a general amnesty was declared. Karađorđe subsequently returned to Šumadija and became a livestock merchant. In 1796, the rogue governor of the Sanjak of Vidin, Osman Pazvantoglu, invaded the Pashalik of Belgrade, and Karađorđe fought alongside the Ottomans to quash the incursion. The Janissary commanders murdered the Ottoman vizier Haji Mustafa Pasha of Belgrade in 1801 and occupied the Sanjak, ruling it independently from the Sultan. Tyranny ensued. The Janissaries suspended the rights granted to Serbs by the Sultan earlier and increased taxes and imposed forced labor, among other things. The Janissaries feared that the Sultan would use the Serbs against them, so they murdered more than 70 Serbian chiefs between the 23rd and the 29th of January 1804. On the 14th of February 1804, in the small village of Orašac near Aranđelovac, leading Serbs gathered and decided to begin an uprising, choosing George Petrović as their leader. The Serbs at first, technically fighting on the behalf of the Sultan against the Janissaries, were encouraged and aided by Ottoman cavalry corps. For their small numbers, the Serbs had great military successes, having taken Požarevac, Šabac, and charged Smederevo and Belgrade in quick succession. In July, the Janissary commanders fled east to Ada Kale, an island on the Danube. They refused to surrender and were captured and beheaded on the night of the 5th to the 6th of August 1804. The Sultan, fearing of the Serbs' power, ordered all Pashaluks in the region to crush them. The first major battle was the Battle of Ivankovac in 1805, in which Karađorđe defeated the Turkish army and forced it to retreat toward Niš. The Serbs established a government and parliament that returned the land to the people, abolished forced labor, and reduced taxes. The second major battle of the uprising was the Battle of Nišar in 1806, in which the rebels defeated an Ottoman army from the Eyalet of Bosnia, led by the Turkish Sipahi Suleiman Pasha. Serbian rebels then joined the Russians as their allies in the Russo-Turkish War. The Battle of Deligrad in December 1806 provided a decisive victory for the Serbs and bolstered the morale of the outnumbered rebels. To avoid total defeat, Ibrahim Pasha negotiated a 6-week truce with Karađorđe. By 1807, the demands for self-government within the Ottoman Empire evolved into a war for independence backed by the military support of the Russian Empire. Following the successful siege with 25,000 men on the 8th of January 1807, Karađorđe proclaimed Belgrade the capital of Serbia. In March 1809, Khurshid Pasha was sent to the Sanjak of Smederevo to put down the revolt. This diverse Ottoman force included a vast number of soldiers from many nearby Pashaliks. On the 19th of May 1809, 3,000 rebels led by Commander Stevan Sinjelić were attacked by a large Ottoman force on Chegar Hill, located close to the city of Niš. In a desperate situation and not wishing for his men to be captured and impaled, Sinjelić fired into his entrenchment's gunpowder magazine, resulting in an explosion that killed all the rebels and Ottoman troops in the vicinity. Afterward, Khurshid Pasha ordered that a tower be made from the skulls of Serbian revolutionaries. Once complete, the 10-foot-high skull tower contained 952 Serbian skulls, embedded on 4 sides in 14 rows. The Serbian defeat at Chegar Hill meant the loss of initiative in the war. In August 1809, an Ottoman army marched on Belgrade, prompting a mass exodus of people across the Danube. Facing disaster, Karađorđe appealed to the Habsburgs and Napoleon, with no success. With the re-establishment of Ottoman control, many of the revolutionaries, around a quarter of the population, including Karađorđe, fled to the Habsburg Empire. Recaptured by the Ottomans in October 1813, Belgrade became a scene of brutal revenge, with hundreds of its citizens massacred and thousands sold into slavery. Direct Ottoman rule also meant the abolition of all Serbian institutions and the return of Ottoman Turks to Serbia. Despite Ottoman requests for his extradition, the Austrians handed Karađorđe over to the Russians, who offered him refuge in Bessarabia. There he joined the Greek secret society known as Filiki Eteria, which planned to launch a pan-Balkan uprising against the Ottomans. Karađorđe returned to Serbia in secret in July 1817, but was killed shortly thereafter by agents of Miloš Obrenović, a rival rebel leader who was concerned that Karađorđe's reappearance would cause the Ottomans to renege on the concessions that they had agreed to after the Second Serbian Uprising of 1815.